Project Zomboid has a lot of skills in it, and one of the more important skills is tailoring. Why is it so important? Because tailoring can help provide you a defensive percent increase buff to being bitten or scratched by zombies. In Project Zomboid, there's one sure way to reroll a tune: get bitten. There's no coming back from that. So let's talk about how we can quickly and efficiently level tailoring to help you survive longer in the story of how you died. Win before you begin, isn't that how the saying goes? So how do we win it before we begin it in Project Zomboid when it comes to leveling tailoring? Well, let's start with traits. When you're setting up your tune, you get negative and positive traits. Get Fast Learner. Fast Learner is one of the best traits in the game anyway. It's going to give you an increase to experience gained on skills, except for fitness and strength. But all other skills that you work on in the game, Fast Learner is going to help you improve that much quicker with it. So get Fast Learner, it will really help you. Also, tailoring is one of the skills in the game that there are books provided for. So if you read the book for the right levels, you get a XP multiplier bonus as well. So read your book and have Fast Learner. The experience you're going to get from doing tailoring work is going to really increase, and you're going to level much quicker. Okay, now we need a good, efficient way to get experience so that it can be increased so that we can get the protections. So let's talk about how you can get experience for tailoring. Unlike cooking and carpentry and the survival skills, there isn't television shows or VHS cassette tapes for tailoring. You are going to have to do the grinding and do the work to grind it up. The materials you're going to need to gather to level tailoring consist of a needle, thread, a pair of scissors, ripped sheets, denim strips, and leather strips. How to get these things is pretty easy. The scissors will allow you to cut up denim and leather clothing into strips. Done. Needle and thread you can get from a sewing kit. Needle you can find in car glove boxes, kitchen cabinets, and in bathrooms. Check those places, you're going to find a needle, no problem. Thread, just tearing up normal clothes, you get a ton of thread, and rib sheets you get more and more as you progress your levels in tailoring as well. So just get to ripping. A pair of scissors, you're going to find a bunch of those stabbed into zombies. Check schools, check bathrooms, they're easy to find as well. But that's all you're going to need. Okay, so let's put this all together. How can we quickly and efficiently get the experience needed? There are many different ways to get materials and get experience in Project Zomboid. You could, as you're out looting normally, just in the bedroom closets and in the bedroom tables and desks and stuff that you come across in houses and buildings, you can rip up clothes that you find in there and get materials from there. Absolutely. There are clothing stores in Project Zomboid. You can rip those up as well. But to me, that is not efficient at all. I don't know about you, but when I'm out looting, I also want weapons and tools and food and other gear and a lot of stuff that also adds weight. And in Project Zomboid, a good way to re-roll another tune is to be overburdened and fight zombies. Just a good way to mess up. So one of the things you're always doing in Project Zomboid is trying to keep your weight down so that you can move quickly. So to me, I don't want to rip those clothes up because the materials for tailoring, as you rip up more and more clothes, they get pretty heavy. So it takes up a lot of inventory, and you're going to be heading back to drop inventory off a lot, heading back and forth from looting. Waste time in daylight. You don't want to do that. So to me, that's not a good, efficient way to do it. Okay, so what's a fast and efficient way to get the experience? Well, I'll give an example of my last playthrough because it's fresh in my mind. So I took over a rosewood firehouse and made that my safe house. Took out the stairs and put up escape ropes, so just stay upstairs, right? No problem. About 2.5 months in before I started working on tailoring. I might have generator power and I might not have running water anymore. But what I do have is a parking lot full of zombies. So what I did was basically started on one side of the parking lot, rip up enough clothes off zombies to get the material needed to get to level 1. So I would go in and I would level tailoring to level 1, and I would stop, go back out, rip up some more clothing to get to level 2, and then go in and get to level 2. The reason why I did that and didn't just go through all the zombies in the parking lot, rip up their clothes, and just drop piles of clothes and get it all done at one time, is because it's not efficient to do that. And I don't recommend you doing that either. Think about it this way. If you're level 0 and you go through 100 zombies in the parking lot ripping up their clothing, by the time you finish, you're going to have a lot of materials, absolutely. But say you're level 4 and you go through 100 zombies and rip up all their clothing in the parking lot, you're going to have a lot more material. As you level, you get better and more efficient at the skill. So you're going to be getting more materials from clothes that you rip up as you level. So if you go through at an early level and do it all, you're kind of screwing yourself out of material, which means you're going to have to go and get more material. So you're going to have to go further out to get the material, which is going to cost you more time. So by default, you're being less efficient. Okay, so now we got to convert the materials into the actual experience. There are many ways to do it. I'm going to tell you how I'm doing it on this playthrough. So the first thing I did was go and get a pair of pristine overalls. Found a pair of those. Took it off a zombie, no holes, a little bloody, don't care, washed it off. But then I went in and dropped those overalls on the floor in the room where my tailoring materials are held. So anytime I want to go in and level tailoring, I go in, I pick up the overalls, and I inspect the overalls. My menu pops up. I have a drop down menu of a bunch of different spots on the overalls, and I just right click and do all denim patches on, right? And that's what I do. I just sit there, I put patches on and take patches off until I level. Just all of them go on, then all of them go off, and I boom, level. There are different materials. You let me know, because I'm not studying, I'm not doing a spreadsheet or any kind of stuff like that. That's not fun for me. But what I did notice is it seemed like I was leveling better off denim than I was rip sheets. So I used rip sheets for like the first level, but then I switched to denim, and it's been denim nonstop. That's basically all I'm going to use. Don't use leather, because there's a good amount of leather in the game, but there's less leather than there is denim, and there's less denim than there is regular clothing. So you're just not going to have as much leather strips to put in leather patches. And you got to keep in mind that when you're leveling your tailoring, if you're putting on patches and removing patches, at level 0, when you're first starting, you have a 5% chance of reclaiming the patch when you take it off. So most likely what you're doing is you're just wasting all that material to level. It is what it is. But as you improve in levels, you have a higher and higher and higher chance to get that patch back. So you eventually get to where you are getting some patches back and saving some material, but you're basically just burning material. Leather is the best for patches. It offers the most and best defense. So I didn't want to burn through that and waste that. I want to use that for my clothes and for my buddies' clothes when they're on and they can play. I want to put those on to provide better protection for us. I can't burn it all up leveling tailoring. And I don't recommend you burn your leather up leveling tailoring either. Go with denim. It's better. But the process was this. Go outside, start on one side of the parking lot, rip up enough clothing to get to level 1. Go in and level to level 1 by putting patches on and off the overalls. If I dinged, okay, fine. When I finished that pair of overalls, either putting them on or taking them all off, I would drop it, go outside, rip up more clothing to get the materials that I thought I needed to get to level 2. Then I would go in and put on and take off patches until I dinged level 2. Then I would immediately stop. I did not care. Not one more patch would go on or one more patch would come off the overalls until I would go up and read the book. You got to keep in mind and remember that odd levels, you keep your multiplier, so it's not really a big deal. But on even levels, you lose your multiplier, so it is a big deal. In order to be more efficient, you want to put on the patches and do your leveling when you have the multiplier active. You don't want to do it when the multiplier isn't active, because then you just have your fast learner trait and you don't have it added with the book trait, so you're not going to get as much experience. Thus, you're less efficient. Alright, with this way of doing it, keep in mind that you can't increase experience with doing tailoring work with dirty stuff. So you're going to need to clean those dirty rib sheets, those dirty denim strips, and those dirty leather strips in order to work with them. So you're going to need a lot of water. So for my playthrough, I was in Rosewood. There's not like a river or a lake by the firehouse in Rosewood. Kind of screwed on that. So I waited till it rained. It was a week of just a bunch of rain, big storm. So I was able to get through these clothes and get them washed. You got to keep in mind as well, you can't use tainted water. You're going to have to boil the water. So I was boiling water and then having to clean the strips with boiled water. You're just going to have to do that. Or unless you can do it while the sinks and the water's still running and you can get clean water that way. But just remember, you're going to need to wait till it rains or have a good water source that you can use. You're going to need a bunch of water and you're going to need to boil it. Keep that in mind. My results. The first day of the week, I didn't work on tailoring. So for 6 days of the week, I worked on tailoring. Didn't just focus tailoring. I was also going out to check my traps and keeping my eye on my garden too. And I also wanted that week, since I was going to be just focused on doing tailoring and I was going to stay in, I went through and did a ton of workouts too because I was trying to get my regularities finished on the first 4. So it was not just focused, it was mainly tailoring. I'm not trying to say it wasn't mainly tailoring, it was, but I was doing a lot of workouts and I was going to check traps and do that stuff too. So you can definitely do better. This tune that I was running as well didn't have fast learner, so there's definitely a ton of room for improvement. But in 6 days, I got a little over 5 levels. So you can do even better. If you have fast learner and you just want to focus in on leveling your tailoring and that's it, then screw going checking traps, screw messing with the garden, pop you some canned food open every now and then when you're hungry, just do what you got to do, focus on tailoring. If you got fast learner and you read your books, you can be up to level 8 tailoring in 2 weeks, no problem. Maybe you can finish it. I mean, level 10 is tough to do. You need a lot of experience. But I have no doubt in my mind that you'll be level 8 in 2 weeks if you just want to focus on it and get it done. And then you're going to be in much better shape to not get bitten and to have good patches, good leather patches on your gear and on your buddy's gear to survive the story of your death a little longer. Alright guys, well that's pretty much it. That's kind of the tips I have for you, a little guide to level up your tailoring. Hope it helps you. Any tips or tricks you have for me, please leave them. I'm happy to hear from you and learn from you. You guys are awesome. Any questions you have about anything else, please leave them. I'm happy to talk with you about it. If I don't know, I have no problem at all with going in the game and exploring and figuring it out. That would be fun. So just let me know. Any questions you have, we'll talk about them and figure it out. But I hope you guys have a great day. Later.